Good afternoon, my name is Richard Ariel, and this is my industry interview with attorney John Scheller. Next slide. So as a bit of an introduction about myself, I'm a political science and business economics major from the University of Kentucky, and I plan on going to law school next year. And that always leads to people asking, well, why are you majoring in those things because you want to go to law school? And the answer is no. You can major in anything and go to law school, but you have to genuinely love what you do in order to get the most out of your college experience. And that's what I'm doing. I love politics and economics, the intricacies, the details, how they work with each other and work against each other, and overall how they affect the world, because I love learning how the world works. I love learning why people, businesses, countries do what they do. And for that, politics and economics play a huge role. They're found everywhere in the entire world, and everyone is influenced by it or influences it. And the same goes for law. Law influences everybody, it affects everybody, it has connections to everything in the world. And I want to use those connections to do the most good that I can, to be the best that I can. And so I figured to learn more about that, I'd interview John Scheller. Next slide. Now, John Scheller is an employment attorney for SKO in Louisville, Kentucky, and he's a graduate of the University of Indiana School of Law. And I figured I'd interview him because he's an extremely successful attorney. He is very high up in his firm, and he's argued before the Kentucky Supreme Court on multiple occasions, and he knows what he's talking about. He's a very intelligent person, and I know this specifically because he's a good family friend, and so it was easy to get in contact with him, and he's always been willing to help me and talk to me about what law school's like, what the career's like, and so I figured that he'd be even better to dig deeper into this situation with. And throughout our entire conversation, he brought up many details, many descriptions that I found to be extremely helpful, and also led to my three themes, of those being law school itself, the qualities that make a good attorney, and the current status of the field. And so next slide, law school itself. We've always talked about it, and he gave me a lot more to think about, specifically financials. I've always considered financials for school. It's obviously very important. Everyone knows that, but I always thought, yes, I'll just go to law school, and then I'll have debt, okay, I'll pay it off. But he also told me it narrows what you can do because you have to find a way to pay off that debt. You can't be a pro bono, save the world attorney immediately if you have life-crushing debt to pay. And so that was something new to consider. I always thought that I would just take on debt and work it off and be fine. But he also says you can't do that and do what you want to do if that thing doesn't make you enough money. And so that's a new thing to consider for me and something I have to think about. Another detail he brought up with law school is how much it prepares you for the actual practice. Now, it does prepare you very well, he said. It works hard and you learn a lot, but the thing is, law is just changing so fast and it's so complicated. You can't learn everything about how to practice out in the real world where everything is not simulated like in a classroom. And for that reason, he told me the best way to fix that after law school is find a mentor. Find someone to latch onto that you work with and have them teach you what they know and have them take you under their wing and make you become the best attorney you can be, as opposed to being a fish out of water immediately after law school. And so for those reasons, those are ways law schools can both help you and hurt you in the sense of financials and preparedness that actually gives you. Next slide. And now the qualities of being a good attorney. There are general qualities and qualities for his specific field that he listed out for me. And qualities in general are you have to be detail-oriented. You have to see the trees, the specific trees in the forest. You can't just see the forest as a whole. You need to find something that other people will overlook. You need to find that little sentence that could be the difference between winning or losing a case. And so for that reason, he also gave me hardworking as a quality that a good attorney has to have. Now, everyone always says to be hardworking, but for this, there will always be people better and smarter than you, but you have to work harder than them. And he said that's how you can be the best. That's how you can win. You just have to be willing to put in the work more than the other people who just naturally are better. And another quality for general attorneys is you have to have an ability to relate with your clients. You can't be an attorney with no clients. It just doesn't work. And for that reason, you have to make them think that you're the only attorney in the world for them. You have to make them know that you care about them. Make them feel like family, and they will trust you, and you will be a more successful attorney because of it. And finally, the other quality that he listed out for general purposes is you have to be dedicated. If you're not dedicated to your field, you won't be the best at it and you won't succeed. And it sounds harsh, but you have to get what you put in. And that's how it works. You have to put it number one in your life if you want to be successful. Now, for his specific employment law, he said one quality that is essential is you have to be philosophically in tune with the side you're on, whether that be the workers or the businesses. If you can't see where they're coming from and believe them, it won't work out. You simply won't be able to be a successful attorney in that field by not agreeing with them. And so that brings me to my last slide. Next slide. Of the currency of the field. The field right now, a few years ago, law had a bunch of influx of law students, which there weren't enough jobs for, and that was terrible. But after less people went to law school because of that, it opens up the field perfectly for when I get into it. So that looks better for me at the current market. But for his area of law, he said it's very interesting right now because his field is very dependent on politics. And right now it's an election season. What better time for there to be politics? With Republicans, there are less restrictions on businesses, and with Democrats, there are more. And so for him, in his very conflict-oriented field, as he described it, he loves it because of that. It's because it keeps it interesting, it keeps him on his toes, it keeps him invigorated. And so that's what the field's looking like right now, especially for someone who's about to go into it. It's a very good time to go into it, and it's going to be very interesting for employment law going into that. And that brings me to my last slide. Do I still even want to do this? Do I still want to be an attorney? And the answer is yes. Just talking to him more made me understand how much I love conflict. Not conflict itself, but how much I like the challenge, how much I like going head to head with someone else and figuring out a way to win. It's something that I love to do, and I think I can be very good at it after hearing more about it. And the next steps is obviously apply to law school. And hopefully where I get in, it will lead me to success wherever I choose to go in life. And so I'd like to thank you all and thank John especially for allowing me to interview him and giving me such great info. Thank you.